Hi everyone, welcome to Battlestar Galactica, and the origins of this story go all the way back to the 2001 San Diego Comic-Con. Now at that convention, I visited the NECA booth. Now they were a small company, not the giant toy company of today, but a very small novelty housewares company who was starting to make a name for themselves in licensing action figures and toys. Now, the rep that I met that day hinted at some big product lines coming out, mainly with Disney, but they had also negotiated with Universal Studios, and one of the properties they picked up was classic Battlestar Galactica. Now, when I pressed the rep on it, all I was told was to expect housewares, novelties, and toys. So take a look at this Tron line. This is one of the action figure lines that the rep was hinting at to me that day, and it turned out to be a beauty. Take a look at this. NECA reissued the Tomy figures from 1982. They did their own style card here on the left, and they did a reissue of the original card backs by Tomy on the right. I believe they were chase figures. They also expanded this really well-crafted line with additional light cycles. You're going to see them in a second on the back. I believe they came out in 2-packs, but this was a really well-received line in the early 2000s. It sold out everywhere, and it is very popular and expensive to collect today. But getting back to Galactica, when I pressed the rep on the license, again, they were not specific. That is how all these reps are at San Diego Comic-Con, even today. They will not tell you anything you really want to hear. All they'll say is, oh, we got the license. So now back then, unlike today, the toy websites were very primitive. They didn't have the breaking news like what happens today every 5 minutes on some of the big sites. You really had to rely on word of mouth, the owner of your comic book shop who knew a lot about what was coming out in the months to come, and the magazine that took months to come out because it was published, 2 or 3 months in advance, and then usually the news was very old. So I told my comic book shop owner, whatever NECA does with Galactica, pull from the shelf for me. I want it, especially the toys. Now, one day I went in, I believe it was in the fall or summer of 2002, and my comic book shop owner said to me, guess what? I have great news. The first product came out. It's a lunchbox. And there you see it. This was the first of what was supposed to be a whole line. That is what the rep at the NECA booth promised me of classic Battlestar Galactica merch. We're talking housewares, novelties, and action figures. Now, I quickly bought this. I was very excited. It is a really nice lunchbox, rather boring, but it's still nice. You'll notice that the Galactica, for some reason, is burning there on the left. I don't know why. There's an image of a Cylon. You're going to notice there's none of the main cast on this because NECA didn't want to pay the fees for their likenesses. Also, they put a horrible sticker on the front there. They did this with all their lunchboxes where it's almost impossible to take that sticker off without some type of chemical cleanser. When you open it up, you find a thermos. Again, really nice, kind of boring. Comes with a lid, made of heavy metal. I mean, it's really nice. I don't know how many people actually use this lunchbox, at work or at school. But it's classic Galactica. So after it came out, I was prepared for the next wave of merchandise, hoping for a Tron-like line. Now, what we did get was Nightmare Before Christmas, and I remember Beetlejuice, but no classic Battlestar Galactica action figures like the Mattel line. We waited and we waited. It wasn't just me. It was the entire Galactica community at that point was waiting for NECA to do something, and it never happened. And we gradually kind of forgot, and we moved on while other companies picked up the licenses like Joyride and Majestic Studios. But I never forgot what NECA did to the classic Galactica collectors community. They fracking issued a lunchbox. That's it. They spent all the money with Universal Studios for a lunchbox. Meanwhile, if you were a Tron fan, you got an awesome retro line to collect and display. But if you're a classic Galactica fan, you got a really boring, with a burning Galactica image on it, lunchbox. I hope you found this kind of funny. At that time in my life, I was a very young collector, just starting to understand how these toy companies operate. I know a lot more now, especially on how hard it is with licensing. So I have no idea what happened between Universal and NECA. Maybe they really were planning something and it got stopped at the last moment. We will never know. The company has never answered my questions about that license that they had back in the early 2000s. It's almost as if they don't even remember they had the Galactica license. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, everyone. Hope it was a fun trip down memory lane to a story that maybe only the older collectors remember. And I hope I see you in the next episode. Please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. Give this episode a thumbs up. And have a great, great Galactica day.